But first tonight, the South Aussie farming suppliers battling to get their millions back. They took a huge hit after a major wholesaler collapsed, running up a $140 million debt. And while the former directors apparently continue to lead a lavish lifestyle, these honest and hard-working folk have been forced to take up their fight with one of our biggest banks, as Hendrik Gout explains.
ASIC is, the old saying is useless as tits on a bull or hip pocket on a blue singlet.
So to your way of thinking, it's not just Megafert and Interfert which have dudded you. You believe that NAB has been culpable in this in some respect.
That is a distinct possibility.
It's the South Australian business crash, which started in New York, came close to wiping out honest folk from Blythe to Balaclava and Mount Bolingum, and involved the shady Middle East moneymen and the gnomes of Zurich. It centred on these two men, John Simper.
I can't give you anything.
And Peter Evans, whose Interfert and Megafert empire imploded with debts of over $100 million.
No, that's incorrect, I'm sorry. But can I refer you to Mr. Brown?
What is incorrect about the fact that you've cost people millions of dollars?
I've got to go, sorry.
Interfert's victims, like fertiliser retailer Donald Carter in Horsham, want justice, not from Evans Simpler fertiliser companies which curled up and died, but from the 17th largest bank in the world, the one with $750 billion in the bank, the NAB. They're taking on the biggest of the big to get their money back. Doesn't seem to be much chance of you getting much money back.
Well, I'd like to think the bank should have an obligation. They have a duty of care to all the people they deal with.
Well, NAB knew the money which was deposited was sitting there waiting for the so-called ship which never arrived.
Ian Millington owns a farm supply at Blythe in the mid-north. Like others, almost ruined after dealing with Evans and Simper. Across 3 states, farm suppliers have paid for fertiliser. A single shipment can be worth $39 million, which Evans and Simper didn't deliver.
And, the situation we got into, there wasn't any fertiliser there when we went to pick it up.
But their money had been picked up and, after a circuitous route, eventually found its way into the vaults of the National Australia Bank. So do you believe that the bank took your money?
Yes, unfairly took it.
Even though Evans and Simper still seem to be doing all right, here's the Evans spread near Balaclava, and he has other vast holdings near Robertstown and here at Glenora Station, Carter still knows that the best chance of being reunited with his wayward money is to take on the bank. Carter argues, and court transcripts seem to support him, that NAB must have known Evans and Simper were sinking long before they finally slipped beneath the waves. The company kept trading, didn't it?
Yes, it was told by some fairly powerful advisory groups that they were virtually trading on the brink of insolvency.
Interfert Megafert used pre-sales money to repay part of its $139 million debt to NAB. And NAB didn't seem to mind at all.
And as they took this money, and they're claiming they didn't know it was prepayments, but it's come forth in the courts of examination over the directors of the company that there was dealings with certain people in the bank that knew full well what was happening and how they were acquiring the money.
But where was the corporate regulator, the Australian Securities and Investment Commission, ASIC? Was it dozing? Was it incompetent? Or was it, in the vernacular,
useless as tits on a bull?
I would have thought if they'd gone in and looked at computers, any reasonable person would have picked up in a few minutes that something was very wrong, and they evidently didn't pick it up, and it went on for 3 years. That was the most horrifying thing.
ASIC could well have been warned, could it not, because the companies had not put in their returns for 2 consecutive years.
When it all blew up, I made personal contact with a person in ASIC in Adelaide and explained to him what was going on.
So ASIC had gone to Interfert Megafert offices in Port Adelaide and examined the books, but it appears to have done nothing to fix the situation.
When you look at the books, after you've been to the receivers' meetings, you suddenly realise how on earth could ASIC let this slide past them?
So, how are Misters Simper and Evans at the moment, compared with the business victims? How do you feel about the fact that you've had to cost them money?
Like everybody. Sorry, Hendrik.
But can't you see that they're doing a lot worse than you are? You might remember this exchange with Mr. Evans from our previous investigation. Mr. Evans, is it true that you're building a $500,000 house now? Is that true?
No, that's sorry, I just can't.
Are you building a new house now?
I'm not at liberty to talk about it.
You're not at liberty to talk about a house that you're building? I understand it's a two-storey house, 900 square metres under roof. Evans couldn't talk about it, but we can. It's here, near Balaclava. We found it, all 900 square metres of it, of all places, under Mr. Evans's own nose, on a property coincidentally called Evanley. We're after Peter Evans.
He's not here.
Do you know when he might be back?
Later this afternoon.
Right. But when Mr. Evans was told it was today tonight at his new house...
Yeah, sorry, Hendrik. He won't be back till tomorrow. He's actually gone one step further than what we thought. He's gone up north.
Good on you.
No worries.
Thanks very much.
No worries, thank you.
Cheers.
Catch you, have a good day.
You too. And we've learnt that there's been $1 or $2 splurged on new farm machinery, some nice shiny John Deeres, an air seeder and 2 specialist tractors, all up about $700,000 purchased from Gawler Farm Machinery in Roseworthy.
I need to go, sorry.
As far as justice is concerned, how would you like to see this now resolved?
Well, I'd ideally love to see my $750,000 back in my bank account.
And we'll certainly let you know how that goes. Hendrik Gout with that report. But still to come, SA's wombat rescue, endangered, homeless and bankrupt, now a plea for help.
They're not backwards in coming forwards. They're just beautiful little animals.
There is nothing that I don't love about wombats.
Andrew could win $1 million.
$1 million.
On New $1 Million Minute, Monday.
Easter fun is now in store. Bunnies galore and so much more. Just come in store and you will see. Camping gear for the family. Big W, the place where we all shop.
Let Right Price Roofing give you a pleasant surprise. Book your roof restoration, metal roof replacement, guttering, veranda or carport and receive up to 3 years interest-free. Yes, up to 3 years interest-free.
Get the price right at Right Price.
At Jaffas and the Chairman, it's a wicked weekend of savings with up to $3,000 off all Lazy Boy furniture, including sofas, suites and recliners. This wicked weekend of savings is exclusive to the Chairman and Jaffas Furniture. Must end Sunday.
Goodyear Auto Care is your one-stop automotive shop. Roll